The hum of the coffee shop fell silent when the biker's fist slammed the table, coffee splashing across the old man's book. "Get out of my seat, geezer," he snarled, looming over the one-armed veteran who didn't blink. No one stirred. Not the barista, not the patrons, not even the air. But in the corner, a young man in a faded hoodie glanced up, his eyes cutting like knives. To the bikers, he was just another face nursing a cappuccino. What they didn't know, what no one in that quiet Tennessee town could have guessed, was that the guy in sneakers was a tomb guard, trained to honor the fallen and shield the living. In the next 60 seconds, those 5 bikers would discover exactly who they'd crossed. Before we dive in, where are you listening from? Drop it in the comments. And if you believe honor, courage, and sacrifice still matter, join us in keeping their legacy alive. The sun dipped low over Willow Creek, Tennessee, casting a warm amber glow through the wide windows of the Steamy Bean, a cozy coffee shop just outside Nashville. It was a crisp Sunday morning at 7:30 a.m., and the place hummed with the soft chatter of a weekend crowd. The air carried the rich scent of roasted coffee, fresh scones, and a whisper of vanilla. The espresso machine hissed behind the counter, mingling with the clink of mugs and murmured conversations. Sepia-toned photos lined the walls, snapshots of Willow Creek's past, from 1940s storefronts to local soldiers heading off to wars long gone. One faded frame by the cash register showed a young Marine in Korea, his jaw set with quiet resolve. Most folks barely noticed it, but the regulars knew who it was. Earl Pops Jackson, 72, sat in his usual spot by the window, a dog-eared book on the Korean War open before him. His gray hair was cropped short, his denim shirt neatly pressed, and a small Marine Corps pin gleamed on his vest. His right sleeve was pinned just below the elbow, a silent nod to the arm he'd lost to shrapnel in 1951. Earl's hazel eyes skimmed the pages, but his posture was sharp, like he was still braced for action. Old Marine habits never died. Across the room, Caleb Cal Morgan, 29, sat at a corner table, blending into the crowd. A tomb guard at Nashville's Veterans Memorial, Cal was off duty, trading his polished dress blues for a black hoodie, cargo pants, and a baseball cap tipped low. His tablet was open, work emails half-read, but his focus kept drifting to the rhythm of the shop. Cal had met Earl at a veterans breakfast a few months back, where the old man's war stories had left a mark. They'd exchanged a nod when Cal walked in, a quiet respect between men who knew the weight of service. Maggie Tate, the 47-year-old owner of the Steamy Bean, weaved between tables, her auburn hair pulled into a loose ponytail, her apron dusted with flour. She flashed a grin at a group of high schoolers hunched over laptops, then paused at Earl's table with a fresh coffee pot. "Morning, Pops," she said, her Tennessee drawl soft and warm. "Need a top-up?" Earl glanced up, his weathered face softening. "Can't say no to you, Maggie. Keep it comin'." She poured carefully, avoiding his book. "Always readin' about the war," she teased. "Ever try a mystery novel?" "History keeps you grounded," Earl replied, his voice steady. "Reminds you what's worth fightin' for." Maggie chuckled and moved to the next table, where an elderly couple shared a plate of cranberry scones, chatting about their grandkids' soccer games. Cal sipped his cappuccino, his eyes flicking to Earl. He admired the old man's quiet grit, the way he carried his sacrifice without fanfare. Earl reminded Cal of the soldiers he honored daily at the memorial, heroes who gave all and asked for nothing. He was about to return to his emails when the roar of motorcycle engines rattled the windows, loud and menacing, shattering the morning calm. The door swung open, and 5 men stormed in, their boots thumping the hardwood. The leader, Vince Razor Callahan, was a hulking 6 feet 3 inches figure with a buzzed scalp and tattoos curling up his neck. His leather vest creaked as he moved, a smirk twisting his lips. His crew, Joey, Knuckles, Derek, and Pete, followed, their eyes scanning the room like wolves. They were the Iron Vipers, a biker gang stirring up trouble in Willow Creek for weeks. Conversations died. Spoons froze mid-stir, and the high schoolers shrank in their seats. Vince's gaze locked on Earl's window table, the prime spot with a clear view of Main Street. He strode over, his boots echoing. "Hey, old-timer," he said, voice booming. "You're in my seat." Scram. Earl looked up, his hazel eyes calm but unflinching. He closed his book slowly, marking his page. "Been sittin' here every Sunday for 12 years, son," he said, his voice steady with a faint Kentucky lilt. "Plenty of tables. Find another." Vince's smirk vanished, his face darkening. His crew shifted closer, exchanging glances. "You hard of hearin' or just dumb?" Vince said, louder now, drawing every eye. "This is my table. Get up, or I'll haul you out." The shop went dead quiet. The elderly couple stared at their scones. The high schoolers froze, and Maggie gripped her coffee pot tighter. Earl didn't budge. He took a slow sip of coffee, his one hand steady, and met Vince's glare. "I don't want trouble," he said. "But I ain't move in. Earned my seat a long time ago." Vince laughed. A harsh, grating sound. "Earned it? What, you some washed-up war hero?" He leaned closer, his shadow swallowing Earl. "You're just an old man talking up space. Move or I'll move you." Maggie stepped forward, her voice shaky but firm. "Vince, that's enough. Leave him be. He's a good man." "Stay out of it, Maggie," Vince snapped, glaring at her. "Unless you want trouble too." Maggie froze, her face pale. The other patrons looked away, afraid to catch Vince's eye. Earl set his coffee down, his eyes locked on Vince. He touched the Marine Corps pin on his vest, almost absently. "I've faced worse than you, son," he said softly. "And I'm still standin' up." Vince's face twisted with rage. He snatched the pin from Earl's vest and tossed it to the floor, where it skittered near the counter. Then he grabbed Earl's mug and dumped it across the table, coffee soaking the book and dripping onto the floor. The mug's clatter echoed like a thunderclap. Maggie gasped, stepping forward. "Vince, stop it. You can't." "Shut it, Maggie," Vince roared, pointing at her. "Stay behind your counter, or you're next." Earl stared at the spilled coffee, then at his pin on the floor. His jaw tightened, but he didn't flinch. He'd survived ambushes, gunfire, and the blast that took his arm. A loudmouth like Vince wasn't going to break him. He thought of Korea, the brothers he'd lost, the vows he'd made to keep going. Across the room, Cal closed his tablet with a soft click. He'd been watching, his body tense, his face calm. He knew Earl, not well but enough to respect him. He'd heard the old man's stories at that veterans' breakfast. Tales of carrying wounded comrades through snow and chaos. Cal's eyes narrowed as he saw the pin on the floor, the ruined book. Vince loomed over Earl like a bully picking on the defenseless. Cal stood, his chair scraping faintly, and walked toward Earl's table, his steps steady but deliberate. "Hey," Vince said, noticing Cal for the first time. "What's this? You got a problem, kid?" Cal stopped a few feet away, hands loose at his sides, eyes locked on Vince. "Yeah, I do," he said, his voice calm with a slight Texas edge. "You're harassing a man who doesn't deserve it. Pick up his pin, apologize, and leave." Vince laughed, glancing at his crew. "Hear that, boys? This guy thinks he's a tough guy." He stepped closer, towering over Cal. "Who the hell are you?" Cal didn't blink. "Just someone who knows right from wrong. Pick up the pin, Vince. Last chance." The other bikers snickered, but there was a nervous edge. Joey, a lean guy with a jagged scar on his jaw, stepped forward, cracking his knuckles. "You're out of your depth, man. Back off or you're done." Cal's eyes flicked to Joey, then back to Vince. "I'm not the one who's gonna get hurt," he said, "but I'm giving you a chance to do what's right. Don't make this ugly." Vince's grin faded. He swung a heavy fist at Cal's face, fast and brutal, expecting to end it. But Cal was quicker. He sidestepped, grabbed Vince's wrist, and twisted it in a fluid, practiced motion. Vince grunted, his arm locked behind him, and Cal shoved him into a table. Cups and plates shattered, the crash jarring the silence. Joey and Knuckles charged from either side, fists raised. Cal moved like he was born for this because he was, as a tomb guard, he'd trained his body and mind to a razor's edge, his close-quarters combat skills second nature. He ducked Joey's wild swing, slamming an elbow into his ribs, then spun and caught Knuckles' arm, twisting until he dropped to his knees with a yelp. In one smooth move, Cal kicked a chair into Derek's path as he rushed forward, sending him crashing into Pete. The two hit the counter, toppling a stack of mugs. The fight was over in under a minute. Vince sprawled across the broken table, groaning. Joey clutched his side, gasping. Knuckles knelt, arm still twisted in Cal's grip. Derek and Pete scrambled up, but one look at Cal's steady gaze stopped them cold. The shop was silent, save for the clink of broken ceramic and the biker's heavy breathing. Cal released Knuckles' arm and stepped back, his stance relaxed but ready. "Pick up the pin," he said again, voice low, "and apologize to Earl." Vince struggled to his feet, face red with shame. He glanced at his crew, who avoided his eyes. "Fine," he muttered, limping to the counter where the pin lay. He picked it up, hands trembling, and set it on Earl's table. "Sorry," he mumbled, barely audible. "Louder," Cal said. "And mean it." Vince swallowed hard, his ego in pieces. "I'm sorry," he said, clearer now. "I shouldn't have done that." He pulled a wad of crumpled bills from his pocket and tossed them on the table. "For the coffee. And the mess." Earl looked at the pin, then at Vince, his face unreadable but his eyes sharp. "Respect ain't taken, son," he said quietly. "It's earned. You got some work to do." Vince nodded, his bravado gone. He signaled his crew, and they shuffled out, boots scuffing the floor. The roar of their bikes faded into the distance, leaving the shop in stunned silence. Then the applause erupted. The elderly couple stood, clapping loudly, the man shouting, "Semper Fi, Earl!" The high schoolers joined in, faces alight with awe. Maggie rushed over, hands clasped, eyes misty. "Earl, Cal, you okay?" she said, voice trembling. "I didn't know what to do." Earl smiled, patting her hand. "We're fine, Maggie. You keep this place special. Don't let a few punks ruin it." Cal slid into the chair across from Earl, his pulse still racing. "You good, Pops?" he asked softly. Earl nodded, wiping his pin clean with a napkin and reattaching it to his vest, hands steady despite the chaos. "Been through worse," he said. "But thanks for stepping in, Cal. Didn't know you had that kind of fight in you." Cal grinned, his usual stoic demeanor cracking. "Had some trainin'," he said. He hesitated, then added, "I'm a tomb guard at the Veterans Memorial. Didn't want to make a fuss, but I couldn't let them treat you like that." Earl's eyes widened, then softened. "A tomb guard, huh? That's something to—" His voice dropped. "Reminds me of the boys I fought with in Korea. Young, tough, full of heart. You did him proud today." Cal felt a warmth spread through him. Not from praise, but from knowing he'd done right. "Just did what you'd have done, Pops," he said. "What any of us would do for a brother." Maggie, still rattled, brought over a fresh pot of coffee. "On the house," she said firmly. "For both of you. And don't even think about paying for those broken mugs. That's on Vince." The elderly man from the couple approached, hand outstretched. "Vet myself," he said, voice thick. "Vietnam, 68. You two showed that punk what a real man looks like." He shook Earl's hand, then Cal's, his grip strong. "Thank you." Word of the showdown spread like wildfire. By the next week, the Steamy Bean was packed, locals flocking to hear the tale. Maggie framed a photo of Earl and Cal, snapped that morning by one of the high schoolers, and hung it on the wall, dubbing it the Honor Corner. The shop became a hub for veterans, who started gathering Sundays to share stories over coffee. Earl and Cal became regulars together, their window table a quiet symbol of their stand. Earl replaced his coffee-stained book but kept his pin polished to a shine. Cal found himself looking forward to those Sundays, not just for the coffee, but for Earl's stories of frostbitten nights and unbreakable bonds. As months passed, the Steamy Bean became more than a coffee shop. It was a place where Willow Creek came together, where veterans, young and old, found a home, where courage and respect weren't just ideals, but a way of life. For Cal, it was a reminder that duty didn't end with the uniform. It lived in moments like these, standing up for what's right no matter the odds. If you love this story, drop a super chat to keep these tales coming. Now, click the video on your screen for another gripping story of courage, sacrifice, and a choice that'll make you rethink everything you know about duty and justice. Click now.